Welcome to Foundations in Therapeutic Modalities and Holistic Therapy. By the end of this session, you should be able to discuss the contributions of key holistic therapists, fundamental concepts, and treatment in holistic therapy. In this session, we will be examining the Wheel of Wellness as a theoretical model, the holistic view of psychotherapy, eco-wellness, the missing factor, and the mind-body-spirit-nature connection. The first wellness model was developed by Hetler in 1984, who is widely considered to be the father of the modern wellness movement. Although models such as Hetler's were presented as holistic, in practical use their initial emphasis was primarily on physical health. Now, wellness within the approach of holistic therapy is defined as a way of life that is focused on optimal health and well-being, where spirit, mind, and body are positively integrated, allowing one to live life more fully within the human and natural community. As well, holistic clinicians view that each one of us as capable of achieving this optimum state of well-being. So in a move away from the predominant models that were based in physical health and using the organizing principles of Adlerian psychology, Myers, Sweeney, and Whitmer developed the first model of wellness based in counseling, and they further refined an assessment tool for wellness evaluation of lifestyle. So next we will explore the visual representation of this Wheel of Wellness assessment tool and briefly look at its 17 components. Whitmer, Sweeney, and Myers refined their original 12 Wheel of Wellness design into a final version with 17 components that are depicted here in our slide, which came to be referred to as the WEL, or WELL. So note that spirituality is at the center of the wheel, so it's serving as the most important characteristic of well-being in this particular model. So spirituality, in this sense, is equated with a sense of meaning, so it also considers things such as religious or spiritual practices. You can note that a series of 12 spokes radiate from the life task of self-direction, which is expanding from the spirituality center of the wheel. So things such as sense of worth, sense of control, realistic beliefs, emotional awareness and coping, sense of humor, nutrition, and so on. You can see them in the wheel. Now these 12 spokes serve to regulate the self as respond to the Adlerian life tasks of work and leisure, friendship, and love. So generally the wheel was intended to be an ecological model that also reflects life forces such as government and community as impacting our wellness. So as well, this model suggests that all of these components interact and influence each other, such that any change in one area can theoretically change other components. So while this instrument has been extensively used and it holds appeal for many holistic clinicians, following years of study, statistical analyses has not supported the hypothesis that spirituality is at the core as relative to other components. Now, the overriding goal of holistic therapy is to address the whole person, if you will, all those aspects that make up our being. So in light of this, holistic clinicians may incorporate a variety of interventions along with those that are aimed at addressing physical and spiritual aspects of the client. Around 2005, and after further study from the WEL, Myers and Sweeney developed the invisible self model, or the is-well. And this is an evidence-based model of wellness, and we'll take a brief look at its contexts of its components. So the invisible self consists of the systems in which one lives most often, families, neighborhoods, and communities, and one's perceptions of safety in these systems. So we have here local, family, neighborhood, and community. Now, the institutional, policy and laws components, these are social and political systems that affect one's daily functioning and serve to empower or limit development in obvious and subtle ways, including education, religion, government, and the media. Now, next we'll look at the context of global and chronometrical within this is-well model. The invisible self-well model can help an individual to assess their wellness and consider behaviors and choices that may improve their wellness in multiple areas. So unlike the Wheel of Wellness, or the WEL, the interaction of components in this model is not merely hypothetical, but have been empirically validated. So with some certainty, we can assert that the factors in the is-well model do in fact interact, and that change in any one area will contribute to or result in change in other areas, so whether those are positive or negative. So this model is also considered ecological in that it consists of these 4 contexts that are considered integral to our individual wellness. So we previously mentioned local and instructional. So to the 3rd context, which is global, and the 4th is chronometrical. So the global or world events deems factors such as politics, culture, global events, and the environment to connect one to others around the world. The chronometrical of lifespan considers growth, movement, and change in the time dimension that are perpetual, of necessity positive, as well as purposeful. So ultimately, this foundation of holism became the explanation of this new model in which the self is at the core of wellness and is intentionally depicted graphically in our slide as indivisible. So we can see that in the graphic presented. Taking a holistic view of psychotherapy involves a connecting of mind, body, and spirit. So this approach suggests that our minds and bodies are connected and that we are dealing with a system, not just a collection of parts. So moreover, our system is continually striving to balance, and symptoms are a vehicle for self-healing mechanisms. So within this thinking, each symptom serves as a communicator and not a dysfunction per se. So this shifts any perception we have of symptoms as illness toward the thinking that they are simply another important component to our wholeness that simply needs understanding and balance, essentially making our entire system as the focus of treatment. So next we will briefly explore the model of eco-wellness and theories of the benefits that natural environments have on our physical and mental health. Well, eco-wellness is thought to be a missing factor in holistic wellness models, and in particular, the impact of our human connections with the natural environment. So this model is focused on themes of an appreciation and respect for nature, our connection to the natural environment, and a way to enhance holistic wellness. So as well, the restorative effects of nature cannot be disputed. There is a growing body of interdisciplinary research in areas such as conservation psychology, environmental psychology, and eco-psychology, for example, that demonstrate that both viewing and being in nature has a positive impact on our health through stress reduction, improved focus and attention, academic performance, and vitality. So next we'll briefly look at a few practical strategies to apply within the eco-wellness model. Each dimension of eco-wellness serves as an important consideration in ascertaining whether it will be helpful to introduce nature-based interventions. So naturally, as when considering any intervention, some may be more effective than others. So here are just some examples of questions that may be useful in helping to identify what types of nature-based interventions will be useful in the initial counseling assessment process and helping the clinician determine the client's relationship with nature. So for example, questions such as, did you spend any time in nature as a child? What kinds of settings? Describe your earliest memory involving nature and the feeling associated with it. How often do you spend time in nature currently? What thoughts and emotions do you typically experience when you are in nature? To what extent would you consider nature being part of who you are as a human being? So these are just to provide some examples of how to explore that connection. So These questions can provide a means for clarifying the client's values about nature, as well as the role of nature in relation to their well-being. So eco-wellness can be integrated into other counseling processes through potentially increasing access to one's natural environment, promoting an environmental identity, and providing nature-based experiences that can be powerful in promoting holistic wellness. Let's summarize our session on holistic therapy. We know that wellness counseling is a strengths-based approach that's aimed at maximizing health and well-being. Counselors can be trained to be holistic, positive advocates for optimum mental health, and that introducing nature into the counseling process can be a powerful positive impact on the individual. This is the end of our session on holistic therapy. Thank you for listening.